looking at my axes? Well, why not? Oh, shit. Okay, today we're gonna do an axe tour. I have a lot, so let's go through them. Come along. Yeah. Hey, so we're doing an axe tour, and we're starting out with my very first axe ever that started the collection slash obsession slash enjoyment. This is a Gränsforsbruk Scandinavian forest axe. It was my very first axe, and I absolutely love it. I think it was around 5 or 6 years ago, and I fell in love. And it is Swedish, and that's one of the reasons why I love it. And then I think my second one was the Gränsforsbruk large splitting axe. This is a great little splitter. I absolutely love it. The weight is perfect. The profile of it can still do a lot of work when it comes to splitting wood. Then my third was another Gränsfors. This is the American felling axe. It's a little bigger. It's a little bit bigger, and it packs quite a punch when you're felling trees, but then also you can split with it, as I split with pretty much every one of my axes. I got another Gränsfors. I can't remember if this was the fourth or not. I'm just going through all my Gränsfors first. This is the double bit throwing axe. This is quite a beast of an axe. You're supposed to throw it so it can stick either on this side or this side. It is amazing. And then this is my Gränsfors hewing axe or broad axe. It is used to taking bark off of trees when you're skinning them to make a log cabin or squaring off sides. It's quite a cool little axe, and unfortunately I left it outside, so you can see some mold and stuff on the handle, but it still works quite well because I conditioned my handles with boiled linseed oil. So they are super, super tough and strong, and they can withstand moisture because it cannot get in. And then my last Gränsfors is my little carving axe. Making kuksas or spoons or just anything, you can hold it nice and close up to the blade and just kind of carve. And yes, it's a great little hatchet and a good carver. So those were all my Gränsfors. Now let's move on to my second favorite brand, the Tuatahi. So this is a New Zealand axe company. It's called Tuatahi, and it's a racing axe. This is actually a work axe. And I'm pretty sure that's an Australian accent. I don't know. My Australian, New Zealand, South African, they kind of get mixed up. Anyways, this is my Tuatahi. It's a work axe. It's like 6.5 pounds, and these guys are my freaking favorite. They are just beasts of axes. Typically they use them for like the timber sports, like the steel timber sports where they chop wood, or they like overhand chop, or they're standing on the log and they're split between their legs, and all sorts of different competitions. They use these Tuatahi racing axes. This is the work axe. So I can cut hardwood, I can cut frozen wood, I can pretty much do anything with this. And I haven't sharpened it since I bought it, and it is still sharp. These things are freaking awesome. Quentin, you are the freaking man. Quite possibly my favorite axe. I will say it's close, and there's a couple more coming that are pretty rare, and that's why they're my favorite of old axe heads that I've restored. But yeah, so that's my Tuatahi work axe, and I got 2 more. This is my second Tuatahi. This is also a throwing axe, a double bit throwing axe, and I had it wood burned by a Maori woman in New Zealand, and she's just the freaking best. Voices of Jake. So that is just so freaking sweet. As you can see, Tuatahi, a great freaking axe. And then my last one is a new one. These are freaking sweet. These are the Trappers, but just like a little perfect bushcraft camp axe. You can get really close to the blade. You can pretty much do anything with it. You're going camping and you have some small stuff that you need to make into kindling or some campfire stuff. It's a great little freaking axe. Again, Tuatahi, New Zealand axes, the best. So now these are German axes. They're called Helco work, and they're quite nice axes. Unfortunately, this one I left outside again. Sorry, fatherland. So I had to restore it, but I really quite like the way it looks. It's patinaed, quite nice. This is the Scout. This is the Expedition. It's quite long. I think it's 36 inches. I've had this one for quite a while, but as you can see, they come quite shiny. This is the Tasmanian, and what Helco is trying to do is make an affordable racing axe compared to the Tuatahi. So if you want to get into racing, go to Helco Work, and they have racing axes that you can experiment with without spending the $450 of the Tuatahi This one is about $190 or $200 US. But yes, this is quite a nice little axe. Quite big, actually. And then we have the Helcoworks spell text. This is a splitting axe. Nice little, and it's not too long, so you can kind of camp it, put it on your back, put it on your motorbike. And yes, it's a nice little axe. And then we got another one of my favorites. So US used to make a lot of axes during like the logging era, and just when people actually used axes. I would say Keen Cutter, Plum, Kellyworks, Collins are kind of the biggest ones, but now they don't make axes anymore. But there's new creators like Liam Hoffman. He's a blacksmith and he creates some of the most gorgeous axes. This is the farm axe, and it is a beast of an axe. It is just a stud. This is, once again, one of my favorites. Just look at it. Like, these things, I had to wait, I think, 2 years to get this, because he hand forges them, and he's just a master freaking craftsman. Go check him out. They make handles too that are just, oof, so good. But yes, the Liam Hoffman farm axe. This one is nothing special. I don't even know the brand of it. But this is actually the axe I grew up with. I didn't own it, it's my dad's, but it's got a fiberglass handle, which I hate. It's perma-bonded, so maybe it is a plum, but just a crappy axe. But honestly, this could have started me not even knowing. This planted the seed until I got older. Then I purchased the Grants Force, and then I fell in love. But yeah, this is just just an old shitty axe. And then another company that I love that sells axes is Whiskey River Trading Company. Brandon, you're the best. And they sell Council Tool axes. Council Tool, they're still being made in the US. Very quality, but they're on the cheaper side of things. Like Liam Hoffman sells top-notch hand-forged goods, and these are mass-produced Council Tool made in the US. Great freaking axes. If y'all want to get into axes, buy a Council Tool from Whiskey River. I do have a code as well, but they sell some just solid axes. This is, I can't remember what this is called, but it's just a little hatchet. Again, just a perfect little axe to carry around in your backpack. Whoa. And then the one that's sliding right here is a Jersey Council Tool on a long full-size handle. But again, just look at how great that looks. That is a nice looking freaking axe. I think these run around 80 bucks. Great solid all around axe. You can split with it because it's got the length. You can really get some whip to it, but then also felling axe because it's nice and thin. And then I was at Home Depot and I picked up the Milwaukee. I think this is their biggest splitting axe, but it's made of full metal. It's just weird. I have a video of me reviewing it. Not too bad. I will say, I don't like metal handles or fiberglass handles. I'm more of a wood guy myself, but this thing will never break. So if you throw it in the bed of your truck, you gotta split some wood, whatever, you accidentally overstrike, this ain't breaking. So it might wring your hands a lot, and trust me, it does. Personal experience, but it's not a bad little splitting axe. Now we'll get into kind of the restoring axes. And one of my favorite creators, he's out of the country, he's in the UK, Axe and Edge Tool Co. He made me this. This is a braids, I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a braids, but it's 6 pounds. It is a beefy frickin' axe. So I use it for splitting. He made this custom frickin' handle for me. It is absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, again, one of my favorites. It's hard to pick. It's really hard. Another one of my favorite creators made this handle for me. This is Keen Timber and Tool, Zach. Look at how gorgeous that frickin' handle is. It's got inlays, it's just, the palm swell feels so good, and I put, I guess, most near and dear axe heads on it. This is the one that cut me. It cut me, so I got it tattooed onto my hand into my scar. So it's a Hackett head. It's 1920s, I believe, right here in Minnesota. So yeah, that is that's a solid axe. One of my faves. I wonder how many times I'm going to say that today. One of my favorites. And then we have this one created by my friend Michael. Oh, it's it's a battle axe. He fabricated it out of railroad rails. So he took rails from a railroad, you know, and he grinded it out, welded it, put a collar on it, and then put a big handle on it. I think it weighs about 18 pounds, but this thing is an absolute beast. You can't swing it all day. I've swung it maybe 10 times at one time, and then you're pretty much gassed. I just love it. Michael, thank you so much. Oh, Christ. Then we have, yet again, another one of my favorite creators, Todd Elder at the Elder Anvil. He forged this Damascus axe head for me. It was actually, the billet was made by Wasteland Forge, and then he sent him the billet and he forged out this freaking gorgeous axe head. He's also the one that's been forging my splitting axes, the spearhead splitters. My favorite. I basically had this idea, oh, what would that be like? And he's like, I'll do it. Amazing. So now y'all can buy them. They're dope. I think I've sold 12 already, and yeah, dope. Anyways, this is the Damascus axe. One of his first forges that he made me, I once again gave him an idea. I'm like, hey, I want like a little Viking looking axe. He's like, sure. So he just whipped this one up for me. Again, Todd Elder. And then I carved the handle out of some oak. But look at how amazing that is. And then my last Todd Elder is this little hatchet. Quite the stubby little guy, and I put it on a custom handle again. It's Jatoba and some bloodwood palm swells. And this is just the perfect little hatchet to throw in your truck. And just, yes, it's a great little thing. Todd forges axes. He doesn't sell them like mass producing like Liam Hoffman does, but he creates some awesome, awesome heads. So this is the spear point splitter. What I did is I added the dead blow action. So this is kind of the kind of interesting realm that I've gone down. I've been trying to make a dead blow function on an axe. So he forged me this spearhead splitter. I put this canister on the back, filled it with lead, and yeah, it works quite well. But now we're making these full size, like 5.5 pounds, so it kind of comes out to maybe about here. Doesn't have any dead blow on it, but it's just a big chunk of steel, and it splits like a freaking dream. And this is another dead blow. I had to tweak it a little bit, so it doesn't have anything in it, but Todd also forged me this. He basically just forged the front end of an axe. But yeah, this is also a dead blow. I'm actually gonna send this one to the other axe god on this app, Thorin Bradley. Became a friend of mine, actually. We've been kind of pitted against each other, not really, but like, oh, you're the other axe guy. Oh, you're better than this guy. You're better than this. Which is kind of BS. Like, who cares? There's no competition there. I'm obviously better. No, I'm just kidding. But no, so yeah, he's another axe guy. Became a friend of mine, and I'm gonna send him this one to see how the dead blow actually works with a decent profile of an axe. It's a little thin, but honestly, you don't need something super thick, especially when you're as strong as frickin' Thorin. Like, he could probably swing this thing 300 miles an hour and split a fucking tree in half. Pardon my French. But again, this one was forged by Todd Elder. Before I get into my other dead blows, this one was also my design splitting axe forged by James Honecker. And he is a hell of a freaking blacksmith as well. One of my favorite creators, again. Yeah, just an absolute beast of a splitter. And what I did, I was experimenting with this. This is actually a metal collar that I epoxied and welded around it to help with overstrokes. And then I just painted it with some spray paint because it looked kind of ugly. It's my go-to splitter, to be honest. This one and my spear point splitters. Since my spear point splitters are a little bit newer, I love them a little bit more. Right? It's my new baby. But this is my old baby. He's more of a teenager now, but I still love him just the same.